and they attack. Lizardman fails the save. Nope. There's a tense moment, because that troglodyte still stinks.
Lizardmen foul. Let's find. Let's kill.
Rats. It hits Bob Johnny, it hits Touchberry, it hits Faux-Fire, it even hits Fleetwood. Everyone is in trouble. Swing with his axe. How's everyone doing? Lizardman psychology. Yeah. Thanks. Let's check this out. And he shoves the door open. And he shoves the door open. As it happens, the room they enter is not populated by troglodytes. It's a 30 by 30 room, which had been the library when this was a temple complex, but that doesn't matter. At any rate, there are no troglodytes in here. Instead, there are shriekers. Oh, I love the shriekers. I love them because they don't hurt you. You know, they can't do anything to you physically. They can barely move. They move very slowly, if at all. But they scream and scream and scream, and they just won't shut up, will they? And they draw the attention of other creatures. Well, as soon as the door opens and the lantern light hits them, the shriekers begin shrieking. Oh, good heavens, stop it, stop it! They're going to bring the whole dungeon down on us! Now, at this point, they should just take their weapons out and start hacking at these things. They don't have many hit points. They have a very easy AC. They should just start attacking them. But they don't think of it, or they don't even consider just chopping them down. Instead, they get all fancy. How much oil do we have left? Can we pour oil on them and burn them? I say, well, you've got some oil left. You've got like one flask left. And yeah, you could do that. So they do. They pour oil over some of them and light them on fire. And so there's like 3 or 4 shriekers burning at this point. It's about as much as the oil will cover. Okay, you got 3 or 4 of them on fire. The other 3 keep shrieking, because there's 7 total. The other ones keep shrieking and screaming, and the ones who are on fire are still shrieking, and now they're shrieking even more, right? Finally, they start hacking with their weapons, and eventually kill them all. Oh, good grief. They all wait, tense. The dungeon is quiet. Eerily quiet. They know that anything in this area has heard them. What is going to happen now? Are the things that heard them going to come? Are the things that heard them going to wait in ambush? Oh, good heavens, now what? As it happens, the things that heard them are going to wait because there's a surprise, and they're going to let the surprise do its work. I'll tell you later. But the troglodyte is all thrilled.
Let's go, introduce your friends. Come.
No. We don't think we want to so much.
Yes, must meet friends, must.
Okay, and then they get a good idea. I think as my middle guy says, just let him go and then we'll go back through the secret passage. Like, let him go get his friends and we'll leave. And we'll be ahead of them and they'll all come in here and we'll boot it for the exit. Okay, not a bad idea. That's what they do. Yes, okay, you're right. We should meet your friends. Go bring them here. I'd love to meet them. We'll wait here for you.
Okay, me go.
Out he goes, and through the secret passage they go. Now, I think they may have forgotten that he just came through that passage with them, so he knows about it. But at any rate, my middle guy is right. They will be ahead of the troglodytes, so if they come in here, they'll be able to get out. Okay, fine. Through the passage you go. Past the rats. Rats still sleeping. Rats still sleep. Ooh, that one looks like it's stirring. Let's hurry up. Through the room they go, back to the well room. Unfortunately, the troglodytes are not so stupid. When he comes back and starts excitedly saying,
meet friends, come, meet friends,
they figure out what's happened. You doofus, you've been charmed. They figure it out. And so some of them go with him, all right? But 5 of them head down the other passage out into the well room, and they arrive there just as the heroes have come through the passage, through the rat room, back into the well. Out come 5 troglodytes. Uh-oh. Here it would be helpful to rehearse the fact that Bob Johnny has 8 hit points, and Touchberry has 6, and Fleetwood and Faux-Fire, they're in the low teens, so this is not a great time to have a battle 4 versus 5. Ugh. But Battle they're about to have. Roll for initiative. And Bob Johnny rolls a 20. Lucky streak continues. What does he do with his initiative? Web. He casts web and he captures 2 of the troglodytes and partially grabs another. I look at the area and how the troglodytes are spread out in the room, and 2 of them can get covered by the web and 1 will be about half covered. So I'm going to give him 2 rounds before that troglodyte can be fully free of the web. He's going to be able to get out. The other 2 are entirely free. And the next 2 in initiative order happen to be 2 who are trapped in that web. So they're going to spend their turn trying to get out of the web. The next in initiative order is Faux-Fire, who uses her turn to shoot and actually hits the half-trapped troglodyte. So that one has been injured. He's not dead. He's injured, though. Got an arrow sticking out of him. And the next in the initiative order is Fleetwood, who runs forward and casts web on the other 2. And now we've got 4 trapped and 1 almost escaping. Before Touchberry's turn happens, into the room from the north come the charmed troglodyte and 2 of his buddies.
Yes, you must meet. Good friend, good. No, be friends, no fight.
And of course, the other 2 lizardmen are like, "You fool," and they leap to attack. Now, these guys ran in the middle of Touchberry's initiative, and he was already in the midst of doing something. So he finishes that action, and that action was to attack the troglodyte who was almost escaping from the web. He'd worked his way around to that side and attacked. He hits. It wasn't difficult. The guy can't move, so he gets a bonus to his attack. He hits, but he doesn't do enough damage to kill that troglodyte. The charmed troglodyte sees this and is horrified and starts shrieking and screaming. Remember, he never liked anyone other than Bob Johnny, and he only liked Bob Johnny because he was charmed. But he didn't really like anyone else, and so he already views them with suspicion and hatred. He now is screaming insults, and he's right on the edge. He's almost ready to break. Unfortunately, part of Touchberry's attack cuts a few of the strands, and it releases that troglodyte, who instantly turns and attacks. He strikes, he hits, and there's a tense moment. Touchberry has 6 hit points left. This creature is armed with an axe. An axe is a 1d6. What will happen? I roll, and everyone holds their breath. 4. That means that Touchberry has 2 hit points left, which would normally be cause for concern, but given the circumstances, we rejoice. Okay, Touchberry finally decides that maybe he should draw back a little bit. All right. Meanwhile, the 2 troglodytes who came in with the charmed troglodyte, I really should have names for them. Anyway, the 2 troglodytes who came in with Mr. Charmed, they have rushed to the attack. Charmed is still back there screaming his head off. At any rate, those 2 attack. One of them goes after Fleetwood, who had been on the north side of the room in order to cast web on those 2 troglodytes. So one of them goes after Fleetwood and hits. He takes 3 points of damage, which isn't a lot, but given how low everybody is, every point counts, and we're all getting a little nervous. The other one goes after Faux-Fire, and Faux-Fire dodges it and doesn't take any damage. We are now back around to the top of the order, because again, Charmed Troglodyte is just yelling how everyone should be friends. Stop fighting, stop fighting, stop fighting. Back at the top of the initiative order, at this point, Bob Johnny decides to finish off the troglodyte who had escaped. You know, the one who was partially caught and had been after Touchberry. When Touchberry withdrew, that troglodyte followed. Bob Johnny decides, no, you're not taking down my friend, and he kills that troglodyte. It just so happened that that troglodyte was the brother of the charmed troglodyte. Charm gone. Fight on. And no, I had not decided that ahead of time. I did not work out the familial structure of the troglodyte clan. I decided it in the moment to give the charmed troglodyte a reason to stop screaming and start fighting. So he sees that and is enraged. And given that rage, I give him initiative. I'm going to plug him in right there. He's on. He rushes forward to attack Bob Johnny. First stab, gets in with his dagger. He scores a hit, 3 points. Bob Johnny is now down to 5. Remember, Touchberry's back there with a grand total of 2. So we're all in trouble. These two former best friends are now locked in combat. Fortunately, Bob Johnny's armor saves him for the rest of the battle, and he eventually kills the charmed troglodyte. And we all shed a tear for friends lost. He stank anyway. Meanwhile, the others finish off the other 2 attacking troglodytes. Faux Fire takes one down, and Fleetwood the other. Now all they have is troglodytes trapped in the webs, and they go about and leisurely kill them. All right. Do you suppose that's all the troglodytes? Yeah, probably. Let's listen. They hear nothing else. I think that was all of them. Want to go check out their stuff? Yeah, let's go check out their stuff. They head through that west door, that metal door, and down the hallway. They pass the toilet room on the north, and they check out the room to the south. That one is totally empty. The troglodytes weren't using it. They proceed on to another intersection, north, south, east, west. They figure that the north passage heads to the shrieker room, but they want to make sure, so up they go. Now, this time, Faux Fire is in the lead. She has the most hit points, and so she's going to take the lead on this, which is a very good thing. It would have been a better thing if she'd been checking for traps as she went, but on the balance, it's still good that she's in the lead. Because as they approach the north end of the corridor, they can see there's a small room off to the left. They figure they'll check that out later. Let's make sure this is the shrieker room up ahead. They step onto a trap. Or, more accurately, Faux Fire steps onto a trap. A pit trap in the middle of the passageway. The troglodytes knew about this, and they knew that the edges of the path were solid, that the trap wasn't until about a foot in. And so whenever they went up and down, which they almost never did, why would you want to visit shriekers? But anyway, when they did, they would keep to the side. Well, Faux Fire didn't know that. She wasn't checking for traps, so down she goes. And she lands on spikes, taking 1d12 of damage, and it's an 8 that she gets. So now Faux Fire is actually down to, I think it was about 6 hit points now, or something like that. So she's nearly dead now as well. Oh, good heavens. Get the thief out of the hole. Down among the spikes there is the skeletal remains of what looks like a Lizardman, so clearly someone else has stumbled across this. The Lizardman found out about it the hard way. The troglodytes found a way to avoid it entirely. Okay. They proceed around the edge and they discover, yes, indeed, it's the shrieker room. We really didn't need to come this way. That was pointless. Heading back down the hall, they check out that small room that they had passed before landing on the trap. They look in there. Clearly, this is where some troglodytes have been living. There's crude furniture, various belongings, the kind of things a troglodyte might find entertaining, collections of teeth and things like that. No treasure in here whatsoever. Fleetwood decides he'll check for secret doors. He's sort of taken that on as his role because he can't do any combat. He'll check for secret doors. Doesn't find any. Okay, down the corridor. They come back to the intersection and decide to go west. And here again they find a small room. These would have been the quarters of the higher-ups when this was a temple. The priests would have lived here while the monks were in dormitories over on the other side. More Snake Temple backstory. Anyway, this room is empty. Totally empty. No troglodytes are using it at all, and they find this curious. Why would they have gone up to the next room and left this one? Why did they not use it? So maybe there's something in here. Maybe there's some treasure kept here. Maybe there's a secret door. And that's what Fleetwood looks for. He goes around the room looking for secret doors. Now, he doesn't find one. There isn't one. But what he does find is green slime. Or, more accurately, green slime finds Fleetwood. It had been hanging on the ceiling, and as Fleetwood moved under it, it dropped. Well, that's probably why the troglodytes haven't been using this as a bedroom, eh? Instantly, the thing begins eating through his cloak and his armor, and it had landed across his back. It begins eating into the skin on the back of his neck, and I say there's a burning feeling, an intense burning feeling as the acid of this thing starts to eat away at your skin. Ugh. I had made my own green slime mini for this because, that's the easiest mini in the world to make, and so I plopped that out on the board, and everyone is suitably disgusted. Now, how do we kill this thing? They've read enough Dungeons & Dragons books to know that you really can't just chop it up with a sword, besides which it's on Fleetwood. They're going to start hitting Fleetwood if they do this. So what do? Burn it, obviously. Pour some oil on it and burn the oil. Great idea. But you used your last oil to kill the shriekers, remember? Oh, yeah. Nuts. What are we going to do? Well, you do have a little bit of oil left in your lamp. It's probably got still a half of a flask at least in it. You could use that. But then it's going to be dark. Yep, it's going to be dark. So they extinguish the lamp, and Bob Johnny, who can see, he's got infravision, undoes the lamp, and opens it up, and pours any remaining oil onto the green slime, and then lights it. Up it goes, and, Fleetwood's on fire now, but at least it does kill the green slime. It takes a couple of rounds, and Fleetwood takes more and more damage. It turns out that if Touchberry had healed himself instead of Fleetwood, Touchberry would be alive, but Fleetwood would now be dead. So, probably a good thing. Even though it made no sense at the time, probably a good thing that Touchberry healed Fleetwood instead of himself. Anyway, the thing finally dies. Fleetwood still has this scar on the back of his neck, which is going to turn into green slime eventually, and now his armor is toast and his cloak is gone. Well, you can replace those, no biggie. The green slime has no treasure, and they're really not in the mood to look for it anyway, and only 2 of them can see where they're going. They just want to get out of here as quickly as they can. So, they hold hands, Bob, Johnny, and Touchberry, and Fleetwood and Fofire, and the elves guide their friends out of this room and back into the corridor. Back in the intersection, a quick whispered conversation. What do? Do we just leave now? Well, no, let's check out to the south. I don't think there can be much more of here. Again, looking at the map, they can see how much space there is left. They know there's a cliff face somewhere ahead of them, so they know there's not too much more dungeon between here and the end. Well, let's check out to the south and see if there's anything down there. What if there's a big monster down there? We can't fight it. Only 2 of us can even see. We have hardly any hit points. Come on, let's check it out. All right. So they head down the corridor, again, leading their blind companions as they go. They come to a rather large room. At 40 by 40, this was the troglodytes' main lair. Obviously, it had been a Lizardman lair before, but they've left and the troglodytes moved in. Now, the room, like the other troglodyte lair, is littered with various things, detritus, crude furniture, and things like that. This gives my eldest an idea. Can I break apart some of the furniture into sticks and take some of the rags and wrap them around the end of the stick and make a torch? Okay, yeah. Now, there's no pitch involved, so it's not going to burn as long. It's not going to have an hour burn on it. I'm going to say it'll burn for a max of 10 minutes, and I will roll a 1d10 for how many minutes it will burn. And it will take a little longer to light as well. Okay, that's what they do. And of course, as Bob, Johnny, and Fleetwood, who can see in the dark, are doing this, there's Touchberry and Fofire just sitting, hoping that those sounds are their friends and not any troglodytes or anything coming to kill them. Anyway, they make 9 or 10 torches, and they light them. Again, it takes a little bit to get lit, and I roll a 1d10. The first torch is going to give them 6 minutes of light. They don't know this. They don't know how long it'll last, so they begin to search quickly with it. As the first one appears to be going out, they take one of the other torches and light it off the first. They get 4 minutes out of this one. During that time, they discover a sack of treasure.
Huzzah!
It's not a huge treasure. This wasn't a vast colony of troglodytes. There were 8 of them total, so it was not some huge colony, but, it's some treasure. It's their little all. So the characters grab that, light a 3rd torch, and decide to head for the door. Should we search for secret doors? No, we shouldn't. I don't want to find what's behind it. There are none in here anyway. Out they go. They have to light another 2 torches on their way out through the corridor, through the well room, and booting it past the centipedes. But of course, as they get to the end of that corridor, there's plenty of natural light and they no longer need the torches. Out they come. Oofda. All right. Back to the boat. I do roll for wandering monsters, but they're fortunate, nothing comes up. They get back to the camp and collapse. They spend the rest of that day there. It was afternoon by the time they got there, and they spend the rest of that day and that evening, and the next morning they head out. I, at this point, stop rolling for wandering monsters because I'm like, you know what? They're done the adventure. Let's not belabor this. Let's just get them home in one piece. They get home, they report what they found. They find the clerics are still busily examining and curing people in the village. There was a lot more lycanthropy than anybody knew. Fortunately, the clerics are still there so that they can heal Fleetwood's neck. He'll always have a scar there, but at least he doesn't become green slime. The other effect is that Fleetwood, Bob Johnny, and Touchberry all level up. So now we are 2 4th level elves, a 5th level halfling, and a 5th level thief who is just on the cusp of becoming 6th level. But that will have to wait till the next adventure. The adventure when they are asked to investigate what it is killing livestock around Honeywood, what is leaving the bloodied and mangled bodies in the snow, what is hunting in the area around the village.